How do you not try in that scenario? There is nothing more the committee, the people, anyone can ever do for you to help you win that game outside of you just trying to win the game. And that was the most frustrating thing. I couldn't believe it. I'm not even a huge ultra Mizzou fan or anything else, but that pissed me off. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Social Club where everyone has a voice. I'm your host, Jacob Hale. And real quick, man, I appreciate this guy for jumping on real early on in March Madness. I already knew as soon as the video was over, I was like, gotta get the guy back. We gotta discuss everything that's happened so far. So real quick, not as big of an introduction as last time, but definitely want to introduce you guys. Owner of Chuck's Hot Chicken here in St. Louis, Mr. Drew Taylor, man. How you doing?
Doing good, buddy. It's good to be back here with you. I appreciate you having me on the first time. Wouldn't be March Madness if you're not wrong about a bunch of stuff. And boy, was I wrong about some things. Got a couple things right. But no, a lot of fun, man. Good to be back.
Absolutely. And come on, man. Let's not lie to each other. You were significantly better than everything I heard on ESPN. And that's why I'm like, let's get the guy back on here. Now, there was one thing in particular we might have to talk about that you were a little bit wrong on, but
I don't think Yaxel Lendenberg is even a professional. I don't think he's an NBA player. I mean, they're talking about him being, a top 10 pick potentially. He's going to be playing in China within 4 years.
Most of your takes were very sound. I think most of my takes were pretty sound as well. There are like maybe three things that we say, like, all right, it could have gotten wrong, but the majority of the information we gave was very sound, very solid. But anyway, enough patting ourselves on the back here. I'm curious about this Mizzou team as well, because Mizzou's in a weird spot, because Mizzou is not a big known team like North Carolina or Kansas, but in terms of the NIL money and the talent that they brought in versus the amount of disappointment that we've seen over the last couple years with this team, I mean, I'm just curious on your thoughts. And full disclaimer, me and you went to this game, just so you guys know. So we saw this firsthand. But what are your overall thoughts on where Mizzou basketball is at right now, where they kind of go from here?
Like you said, we were there, man. Watching Miami play defense versus us on the defensive end, it was two different teams. It was two different teams on completely different levels with completely different, levels of motivation. I mean, and you got to put it on Gates, man. I mean, at the end of the day, this just simply has to fall on him. He's one of the best recruiting coaches in the country, in the sport. Really, he's unbelievable at recruiting. He cannot put together a roster, and he can't get guys to play defense consistently. I mean, you watch that game, not only was the defense so bad, but your offensive game plan was get Mark Mitchell in space, like it always is, like it has been all year. He's big, he's awkward to handle, but then the counter is they throw number 8, that big that they have that he's like strong and can really move. And he was going absolutely nowhere. Completely took him out of the game. And then from there, we just had no offense. The offense was, pass the ball, stand around, maybe an occasional ball screen. It was absolutely abysmal. And every year it's the same thing with Gates. And he brings in these hired guns, and he brings in the big bully, tough center that can't do anything offensively and is a bit of a liability. It's just time that he get some criticism for this, because honestly, I just don't think he can. He's done, he's got us to the tournament, a few times, but ultimately, like, we're going to be capped with a guy that builds a roster this way. And when you look at the stuff that happened in game, like I said, they shut down Mitchell, and we just have no answer for that. Like, that's it. That's the game plan. And not only that, all of these fans who drove from wherever, Columbia, Illinois, wherever people are at, and they come to see this game a little bit after prime time, but you got a night game in St. Louis, which was a gift from the committee, by the way, and to show up like that and to give up at the end of the game, truly, you can vouch for me on this. I think we all just felt like offended that at our time, like we literally just have, I've invested in this team, gone to these games, and it's like to get that kind of effort in St. Louis, in a great spot, it was very unfortunate, man. And I just don't think, I think you got to get a new coach, and I think you got to figure something out, because this ain't it. You got enough money to go put together a better roster than this. It's terrible, man.
As a former athlete, I always think to myself, I always try to be constructive whenever I criticize, because I know how it is from the other side. I'm like, you never know what's going on in that locker room and stuff. And I try not to be the big bad, microphone guy that just wants to shit on players and make them feel bad and all that stuff. With that being said, this criticism is 100% justified. And what I mean is let me really paint this picture, because I think you put it out well, but I want to really paint this picture for you guys to understand. Is that Columbia, Missouri to St. Louis is about an hour to an hour and a half drive, give or take, to make it in. Okay? So the committee, whoever paid the committee to give Mizzou essentially 2 games in St. Louis, 2 home games essentially, is a gift from God. With that being said,
yep,
Mizzou football, basketball, baseball, whatever, they have a great culture in sports and fandom. They show out. They always do. And it's actually something I really respect whenever I moved to Missouri a long time ago. They have a great fandom. They always show up, no matter how good, how bad the team is. They're always there. So just like you painted, you have a guy, maybe like a family of 4, because we definitely saw that in the game. They packed their van up. They drive all the way down to go see their favorite basketball team play, right? Those tickets were not cheap. They were $300, $350, $400 just to walk in. So they get up, $400 per person, get to all the way up to the top of the stadium in the rafter seats next to the Guardian Angels and the Hells Angels and Jesus Christ, to look and see their team play. You gotta at least try. That's it. How do you not try in that scenario? There is nothing more the committee, the people, anyone can ever do for you to help you win that game outside of you just trying to win the game. And that was the most frustrating thing. I couldn't believe it. I'm not even a huge ultra Mizzou fan or anything else, but that pissed me off. As a collegiate athlete, that is the bare minimum. If we can't get you with all the money we paid and the facilities and everything and the workouts and all that stuff, if we can't get you to try, it's over. It's over. Because it doesn't matter how talented you are. If we can't get you to try, in your version of a playoff game, with all those fans there, you were there, those fans were itching for a reason to cheer. You can make a soft layup. You can bomb a soft layup, get fouled, do a 1-and-1. The whole crowd's going crazy. Like you just hit a logo 3. Like they were screaming for it. Miami, at best, brought 100 people to that stadium. At best, brought 100 people. That was truly unbelievable. That truly upsetted me. And shame on the players 100%. Because you can blame the coach, you can blame the X's and O's and all that stuff. At the end of the day, bro, you got to try when you get out there. You got to at least try.
And you and I talked about it. It's so true. I mean, again, we were at the game and you were even kind of like making fun of me, like, because I kept talking about the timeouts. It trust me when I tell you, if you weren't at that game, like Jacob said, this crowd was ready to go. If we had a 3 and a stop and a 3, that's all it would have took. Like 2 or 3 shots in a row, this place would have gone crazy. credit to Miami's coach. Every time we had a little mini run, bang, he'd hit timeout. He would hit it like right before the media timeout. So then we'd go back, the crowd would quiet down, then we'd get a media timeout, people would go to the bathroom, whatever. He was playing that the entire time, knowing that Miami only brought like 100 people, and knowing that if this Mizzou crowd gets into it, it could get loud and it could be a real problem. And again, credit to their coach, Jai Lucas, for honestly a masterful performance and just a terrible coaching mismatch. Because we got the crowd into the game at the very end of that first half, but it was very few and far between, and it killed us.
And it's so funny. I think I have a very interesting perspective just because, I'm relatively new to St. Louis. I've only been there in the last 5 years. I didn't grow up in this culture. So now I'm learning this culture of all the different fandoms in St. Louis and how they all merge and all that stuff. I look at Mizzou basketball, and the distinction between the effort I saw there versus SLU basketball and the effort I saw on that end is night and day. And Mizzou, again, millions of dollars ahead of what SLU basketball is able to put together in facilities, talent, roster, everything of the sort. But those SLU basketball players tried way harder in those games than what I've ever seen from Mizzou basketball. And it is an absolute shame for Mizzou basketball. You're getting outplayed like that by a mid-major Atlantic 10 team. You're getting out effort. I would love to see both of them play each other just to show how bad it actually is, because you go back to that SLU basketball game, those kids had a legitimate heart. What anyone wants to say about the Michigan game and them getting blown out, they played hard until the very end. It didn't matter what the score was. And you can respect that. And I felt that respect as someone watching SLU basketball. It's like, I respect you went out there and you kept playing till the very end and you just happened to lose. That's okay. I can live with that. I really could.
It's ridiculous that they don't do a home and home like SLU and Mizzou. Like just every other year they switch it. I mean, even Josh Schertz came out and said that recently. Like, we would do a home and home with them tomorrow. With all this talk about mid majors won't play the Power 5 teams, and he was like, we'd sign it right now. And it makes sense. I mean, all the fans that would come down, like that game would be a sellout, especially SLU where the program stands now. You'd like to think they would, but I'll tell you what, I would have loved, part of me even wanted SLU and Mizzou to get matched up when I was looking at some of the bracketology before the bracket came out, because I think they would have ran him out of the gym, personally.
Absolutely. I mean, you see what they were able to do against Georgia. And like we talked about, what everyone wants to think about Georgia or some of these other teams is like, it's still the SEC. You have an SEC roster. You have this amount of resources and all that stuff. And St. Louis put up 100 on them, made them quit pretty much by halftime. And that's one of those things to where there's no amount of money that can fix that. While the outside culture is there and they love Mizzou basketball, the inside culture and what's going on in that locker room has failed them the last couple of years. And that, as an AD, at some point, you got to really strike hard and force a change what's inside that locker room.
Yeah, and I mean, look at what's going on with SLU. I mean, the NIL money posted, and now with Schertz's new contract, the money that's being pledged, and then the money that's going to come in from the collective and people in the community, like it to get there, you need to have the trust of the fan base and the trust that, like, okay, even if this year didn't go the way we wanted it, this guy is going to take us where this program ultimately wants to go and is going to win a lot of games. And it's like, I just don't see the current donors buying in at this point. I think everybody is speculating, and rightfully so. Something's got to change. I mean, you got to point the finger at Gates. I just don't see another side to that, personally.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I know the issue, because because I think that was the biggest issue with North Carolina, even though they ended up firing their coach. It's hard to find a coach that can recruit like that. It really is. But at the end of the day, man, you got to just look in the mirror and just ask yourself, is it worth it? They can get all the talent in the world, but if you can't put the pieces together, it's just completely pointless. And that's sad. It's sad for this state because you can just feel the energy here. They want a team that they can feel good about, and they're just finding ways to take that joy from them. I gotta tell you, man, just speaking from a personal sense, man, in a way, I felt really bad for like the smaller kids there. Like, that was a tough game to watch as a kid. And kids are smarter than you think. They can feel that vibe. It's like, dude, is this my team? Like, what is this? This is terrible. You know, I kind of feel bad for them. That sets a bad precedent for the future kids of the world, the future Mizzou fans, to see something like that. So, again, I'll relay the point. As the AD, at some point you got to step in. You can't have this keep going on. You can't. This next year for him is definitely a prove-it year. If they have a similar thing like this, you got to let him go. For the sake of your future fandom, you can't have kids go through that type of trauma every single year and expect them to be adults willing to give you money. You got to, it might be time. You got to try something new.
Just putting together a collection of talent and hoping it works out just simply isn't going to work. I mean, like the Josh Shirts of the world, the Kurt Zignettis, what do they say? They say, get the right guys on the bus. Like Purdue, they don't draft any 5-star, you know, I don't say any 5-star. They don't draft all, you know, McDonald's All-Americans, but they've been in the, you know, Elite Eight, I believe it is. They've been in the Elite Eight the last 9 years. I believe, to the second weekend at least. I'd have to double check that, but like they have some crazy record of doing that with inferior talent, but they get guys that come in and are willing to accept their role, and that honestly gives little percentage points back to the team every day. Like every time you get somebody, like you bring another guy in that's not going to be a headache, that's going to accept his role, that's going to put his head down and do his job, those guys got to outnumber the guys that aren't like that. And I think you're seeing that, like, culture really is everything when it comes to these programs. Like, it really is. Like, Signetti has put together an unbelievable culture. Josh Shirts, you know, Dusty May clearly can do it. Like, it really is like, yeah, it's the NIL and you got to have big pocketbooks. You got to be able to spend, but it's going to be dangerous on a positive note to see what Shirts is going to be able to do with this money, given, you know, another year to fortify this culture. I really do believe it is everything, whether you're running a high school program or college. You know, even with OKC, what they're doing at the professional level, they're basically like an AAU team. That's how they play, and those guys all like each other. So I think if you don't have that, you don't have anything. You know, and it's the cream is starting to rise.